Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Your democracy and your freedom, your human rights and mine are under threat as they never have been before. And it's not just in my country, in the UK, it's not just in Sweden, it's not just in Europe. It's across the whole of the world, and it's down to the WHO and these two instruments, the post-pandemic treaty or accord and the amendments to the international health regulations. Well, who are the WHO? Well, they were formed 78 years ago in the aftermath of World War II. Nation states coming together to tackle health emergencies, a laudable aim. But where are they today? The WHO, like many of our regulators and indeed our politics, has been usurped by corporate interests. 84% of the WHO budget is now private donations, where those donations are directed by the donors to implement policy that they support. And you might know that one of the richest men in the world who has a very, very good interest in vaccines, MNR experimental vaccines, is also the biggest donor to the WHO. If our elected assemblies around the world acquiesce to these two instruments, or even one of them, it will change fundamentally the relationship between yourselves and the state. Sweden, you know, the WHO's advice, it was only advisory during the COVID-19 pandemic. They didn't cover themselves with glory. They urged us into lockdowns, which are extremely damaging, experimental vaccines, which we're suffering now excess deaths and harms from. And it was devastating for our schools to be closed. Now, Sweden, you were strong during the pandemic. You resisted the advice of the WHO, and I salute you, and I ask you to be strong again and resist these two instruments. The Director General of the WHO, he seeks to take the powers to call a public health emergency of international concern for a potential human pathogen anywhere in the world, an animal pathogen anywhere in the world, or because of the environment or the climate, loss of biodiversity. He judges that there's too much carbon dioxide. He can call these emergencies and take absolute power over our democracies, cancelling basically our parliaments. And he not only has the power of when to call these emergencies, and he's shortened the time. Every nation state will only have 72 hours to report the detection of a risk. So there'll be lots of false alarms. But more importantly, he has the ability to decide when the emergency is over. And I think it'll be a very long time before effectively an unelected world government gives powers back to our independent democracies. The WHO is unelected. It's unaccountable to anyone. It doesn't pay tax anywhere in the world. And they have diplomatic immunity for themselves and their families. Put them in charge of all our countries. What could possibly go wrong? I call on all elected representatives around the world. This is not our sovereignty to give away. The sovereignty belongs to you, the people, and at every election we should return it to you intact for you to elect who you wish to have represent you for the next parliamentary term. We're not giving it away to the WHO. You must speak to your people. Now, when the people are scared about what the politicians are going to inflict on them, and they're going to try and inflict these two instruments around the world, that is tyranny. But when the politicians are scared of the people, that is democracy, and we need to get to the latter very quickly. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Andrew Bridgen.